Hi guys, it's Daniel. I want to show a line in the Jobava London, which is one of my favorite openings, in which white can punish an early inaccuracy played by black and get just a huge advantage just right out of the opening. So the Jobava London is e4, sorry, e4, d4, d5. Then you bring your knight out. Typically in a regular London, you bring your pawn out here, and then let's say black brings a knight out and you bring your bishop out, and that's the beginning moves the Jobava London. Now in the normal London, this pawn would go here, this knight would go here, this bishop would go here, and this knight that you put here would actually go here, and then you'd have a pawn here, and that this pawn would potentially go here for a pawn break. Alright, that's a little normal idea for a regular London. The Jobava London is quite a bit different because you bring your knight out with the ideas of going here and targeting this pawn, which is weak. And because that's an idea of targeting that pawn, there's an early inaccuracy that black can make, which is bringing their other knight out. This is kind of like trying to play a two knights defense with d5. It just doesn't quite work, because you just made it that it's very difficult to actually defend this pawn. So you go for your attack right off the bat. And most people who have this structure have never seen this before, and they will go into a kind of a think. They're like, oh gosh, what do I do to defend? Well, there actually is only one legitimate move, and that you fling this pawn out to block. Now a lot of people might think that the best move would just be take with the pawn, because you don't want to lose your bishop to a knight, you know. But the best move is actually bishop takes. Actually it is, it's bishop takes, and this knight takes here, which of course reignites the threat. So they obviously they're like, well, I want to stop this threat, I can't let them take my pawn, forking my king and my rook and losing my rook. So they take, then you take with the pawn, then the knight all of a sudden has to move somewhere, right? And there's kind of this is kind of where black just kind of struggles, because there's no good spot for the knight. And matter of fact, you play the exact same move no matter what. Doesn't matter where this knight goes to, you're going to play the same follow-on move. So let's say the knight goes here, right? Let's say the knight goes here, targets this pawn. Well, then you take this with your queen. And as a matter of fact, according to chess.com, this is a brilliant move. If you ever play this variation, you will get a brilliant move out of this move. And the reason why, you're like, oh my gosh, you just hung your queen. My goodness, man. You just hung your queen. Just threw the queen away. Well, then you have this nice little fork here with your knight, forking the king and the queen, and you win the queen right back. Now you might think, well, okay, now black has a move, right? They're just going to take the free material. But look at it. Black can't castle no more. You actually just have an immediate castle right here if you wanted to. It's not quite the most accurate to go immediately, because this knight can go back and hit this pawn, you'd lose your rook. So you really want to focus on developing first, getting your pieces out. And look at white in this variation is +2. +2. Already is 2 pawns up, right? So let's go back here. Instead of the knight going here, let's say the knight went here. Well, you play the same move. Play queen takes. Best move for black is the fork. As a matter of fact, pretty much everyone's going to find this, and they're going to fork. Well, then you play knight check. And this is where it gets kind of interesting, because the only move for black here is to take the knight. If you move forward with the king, this is actually checkmate. So there actually is a mate on the board already. So they have to play bishop takes, then you take with your queen. And again, white is up 2 pawns, but there is a way that black can make kind of a move to win a pawn back. And they go out here with check, hitting the king, hitting the pawn. So you block the check, queen takes the pawn, queen takes queen, and knight takes queen. And then black gets a little bit more compensation here, but they're still down a pawn at the end of this line. And it's kind of a way to punish black, because black honestly is not doing any better than white. So all white has to do is develop, understanding where weaknesses are in this position, because look at that. Castling there was such a bad move, because you know, you can go takes or whatever, you know, castles, and you just have to understand that there's a weak pawn here. You slide over, and white is honestly doing not half bad. They have a small but steady advantage just right out of the opening. So I hope this actually helps you guys out. This is a nice little line. I've actually had this variation dozens of times because I play the Jobava London all the time, and a lot of people will bring that other knight out. So hopefully this works for you guys. Hopefully I explained it well. I'm not the best at explaining how I play this, but yeah. Toodaloo, and see you in the next video, folks.